You are looking at some of the greatest icons in the entertainment industry, heartthrobs and superstars who were once the dream of millions of female fans. Yet behind that dazzling spotlight lay a secret that was once considered a death sentence to any career they desired men. In an era when same-sex love was seen as the worst kind of stain, powerful forces within the entertainment industry coldly orchestrated their lives into carefully constructed performances of deception. Some legends were forced into suffocating sham marriages. Some icons nearly lost everything to traps that had been meticulously set in advance. And there were those who made the world laugh while silently choking back their tears in the lonely pages of their own diaries. They stood at the peak of fame, yet lived like prisoners serving life sentences inside the script of their own lives. So, who were they? Part 1. Elton John, the perfect illusion and the journey back to the sky of the Rocket Man. The stage lights blazed, the roar of the crowd tore through the air. At the center stood a man in a glittering outfit, oversized sunglasses on his face, completely lost in the rhythm of his piano. That was Elton John in the 1970s, the musical god who sent Rocket Man soaring across the world. From the outside, he was the embodiment of freedom of flamboyance, a superstar who seemed to hold the entire world in his hands. Yet behind those dazzling glasses and radiant smile was a man trapped inside the very empire he had built. At the height of his fame, the piano man of Britain carried within him a quiet fear that constantly threatened to consume him. In the 1970s, coming out as gay was almost synonymous with the end of an entertainment career. As the media began prying into his private life, Elton understood that he had to step back in order to protect his position. In 1976, during an interview, he chose compromise, identifying himself as bisexual, and gently stating, "There is nothing wrong with going to bed with someone of your own sex." It was a safe move, a layer of protection just enough to reassure the public while preserving the brilliance of his spotlight. But that performance of concealment did not end there. In 1984, the world was stunned when Elton John held hands with German sound engineer Renat Blauel and walked down the aisle. A lavish wedding in Australia splashed across headlines with romantic imagery. Yet behind that velvet curtain, it was a marriage driven by necessity. Elton tried to force himself into the mold of a heterosexual man attempting to live a normal life just to satisfy society's rigid expectations. But a person can deceive others, never their own heart. 4 years later, the act came to an end. In 1988, he filed for divorce and made the decision to tear away every layer of disguise, openly declaring himself as gay. No more avoidance, no more compromise. That courage did not destroy his career as once feared. Instead, it liberated an artist's soul. That freedom eventually found its home when he met David Furnish. Their love overcame every barrier, leading to a proud same-sex marriage. At last, the Rocket Man broke free from the suffocating atmosphere and soared toward his own true sky. Elton removed his own mask to rediscover himself. But at another turning point, someone else had their mask ripped away by the world in a far more painful way. Part 2. George Michael, the shocking headline and a stunning reversal. On April 7, 1998, the Beverly Hills Police Department arrested a well-known man. The urgent voices of news anchors cut through television broadcasts that day. A sex symbol, a man desired by millions, George Michael had been handcuffed for a sensitive act in a public restroom. A trap set by undercover police and the pop superstar had fallen into an undeniable situation. The media exploded instantly. Tabloids celebrated like it was a feast. The public buzzed with the belief that this icon's career had been buried under an indelible stain. But behind those sensational headlines was a despair he had carried in silence for years. During the peak of the MTV era, George bore within him a wound that would never heal. He was deeply in love with Anselmo Falepa, a Brazilian designer. It was a beautiful but short-lived love ending and heartbreak when Anselmo died of AIDS. When his lover passed away, George did not even have the right to grieve openly. He could not publicly acknowledge his love, could not call the man he loved his partner. and could only pour his pain into the dark melodies of Jesus to a child. That prolonged silence slowly eroded his soul. Then, the 1998 arrest became the breaking point. Instead of bowing his head in apology as expected, George Michael chose to confront it. He appeared on national television sitting across from David Letterman, calm and direct, facing the truth. The peak of his counterattack was the music video, Outside. In it, he transformed a public restroom into a dazzling disco, dressed himself in a police uniform, and recreated the very arrest with biting satire. His message was crystal clear. I have no reason to hang my head for being gay. From a man cornered, George Michael flipped the narrative-turning scandal into a proud declaration that shook the world. He was pushed into a corner, yet used it to shine. However, somewhere across the ocean, another man chose his own moment to lift the curtain on his secret. Part 3. Ian McKellen, the great wizard, removes his cloak of secrecy. Audiences surely still remember that moment. An old wizard with a long white beard slams his staff onto a stone bridge and declares, "Sia, you shall not pass." The scene of Gandalf confronting the demon in The Lord of the Rings turned Ian McKellen into an icon. In the public eye, he was a symbol of strength, a hero who always stood on the side of light. But behind the brilliance of those great roles, his real life was hidden in the shadows. Ian McKellen kept his sexuality a secret until the age of 49. Half a century of suppression, half a century of carefully weighing every word and controlling every gesture so as not to lose the career he had fought so hard to build. In a time when prejudice still ran deep, he chose silence helplessly, watching his community being pushed to the margins of society. But every silence has its limit. In 1988, when the British government introduced Section 28, a law banning the promotion or even mention of homosexuality in schools, Ian knew he could no longer stand aside. During a live debate on BBC Radio, amid the noise of opposing voices, he calmly but firmly spoke. As a gay man, the entire nation fell silent. That single sentence not only shattered 49 years of repression, but also ignited a powerful movement for change. He later co-founded Stonewall, one of the most prominent LGBTQ+ rights organizations. And remarkably, instead of declining, and his career flourished even more after he came out. No longer forced to hide who he was, he poured complete honesty into every performance. Acting is not about lying, acting is about finding the deepest truth he once shared. It was that truth that built a legend. But in the glittering capital of cinema, living truthfully sometimes comes at a very high price. Part 4. Rupert Everett, a brutally honest confession about Hollywood's dark side. Coming out as gay closed the door to leading man roles for me in Hollywood. That was Rupert Everett's blunt, unfiltered admission. He did not try to dress up his story as an inspiring tale of overcoming adversity, nor did he soften the bitter truth with elegant words. His beginning resembled a perfect dream. He possessed striking good looks, an aristocratic British charm, and acting skills highly regarded by critics. In the early years of his career, he was the ideal image of a prince, charming a romantic leading man on the big screen. But Rupert chose to live truthfully very early on, at a time when Hollywood was not yet ready to accept openly gay actors. And that very choice quietly closed countless doors in front of him. At first, everything seemed fine. Audiences loved him as the witty, charming gay best friend in My Best Friend's Wedding, alongside Julia Roberts. The media praised him, critics applauded him. Yet that very spotlight unintentionally became an invisible cage that trapped his career. Whenever directors searched for a strong romantic male lead, the man who would kiss the heroine in the final scene, Rupert's name was immediately ruled out. Behind closed doors, producers worried that audiences would not believe in a heterosexual love story if they knew the leading man was gay in real life. Rupert gradually came to a painful realization: the industry was willing to give him charming supporting roles that made audiences laugh, but hesitant to place him at the center. His leading man career quietly came to an end, not because of a lack of talent, but because of invisible prejudices lurking behind the camera. Rupert's story strips away Hollywood's glamorous facade, exposing a truth that sometimes the greatest price an artist must pay is not just sweat and effort, but countless major opportunities in their career, all for the right to live truthfully as themselves. Part 5. Sir Alec Guinness, the secret beneath the perfect surface of a legend. In 2001, the British public was shaken. Shortly after Sir Alec Guinness passed away, 3 biographies about him were published almost simultaneously, revealing a secret that had been buried for his entire life. Sir Alec Guinness was not just an actor, he was an icon. From the proud colonel in the bridge on the River Kwai to the Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, he was celebrated as the great chameleon of British cinema. The public admired him for his reserved, dignified lifestyle and his 62-year marriage to his wife, Marula, a flawless model of family perfection. But behind that picture lay a deeply painful internal conflict. His life was divided between social duty and his true self. Sir Alec was bisexual, and he hid it in profound fear. The biographies revealed that in 1946 he was arrested by police in a public restroom in Liverpool while seeking a same-sex partner. With money and connections, he managed to suppress the incident before it reached the newspapers. But the fear of exposure combined with his deep Catholic faith turned him into a prisoner within his own mind. Ian McKellen, a fellow actor from a later generation, once described him sorrowfully as a self-loathing gay man. Sir Alec used his own transformative talent to perform the longest role of his life, that of a model heterosexual man. He loved Marula with genuine affection, yet at the same time had to deny the deepest desires within himself. He chose to take that secret to the grave. But in another story, someone chose to use cinema itself to speak the truth, even while denying it in real life. Part 6. Dirk Bogarde, the greatest performance of a lifetime behind the screen. In the film, victim Dirk Bogarde delivered a powerful performance as a successful lawyer willing to sacrifice his reputation and marriage to fight a blackmail ring targeting gay men. At the time, it was the first British film to directly use the word homosexual and portray deep sympathy for the community. Audiences praised Dirk's courage for taking on such a sensitive role, but the irony was he was acting out his own life's fear. In reality, Dirk was a charming superstar, a heartthrob of the silver screen, and he carried a secret he could never speak. For over 40 years, he lived with his manager, Anthony Forwood. They shared a life together, cared for each other through illness, bound by a deep love that anyone would admire. Yet in public, Dirk maintained the image of a dashing bachelor. He burned love letters, staged relationships with women, anything to avoid ever admitting he was gay. Until the very end of his life, he continued to deny that relationship. He feared the judgment of a society that once considered his love a crime. Only after his death did close friends quietly confirm what the public had long suspected. Dirk Bogarde used art to protect people like himself, yet was too lonely and afraid to protect his own love in real life. He spoke the truth through the screen in silence. And for another night, his mask would be shattered in a single fateful night. Part 7. Sir John Gielgud, A Fateful Night and the Power of Compassion. In the autumn of 1953, in the bustling district of Chelsea, London, a fateful night nearly destroyed the entire glory of a legend. Sir John Gielgud, the greatest Shakespearean actor of his time, who had been knighted just weeks earlier, was arrested by police. He was found seeking a partner in a public restroom. In panic, he gave a false name, Arthur Gielgud. The next day he appeared in court and paid a £10 fine, believing he had escaped. But the press did not let it go. The following morning, the Evening Standard published the story with a bold headline exposing everything. Sir John's world collapsed. From a national icon, he became the center of disgrace. At the time, society was unforgiving. Thousands had been imprisoned simply for loving someone of the same sex. In despair and shame, he even contemplated ending his life. A few days later, he had no choice but to return to the stage. Behind the curtain, he trembled, preparing to face ridicule and rejection. But when the curtain rose, something miraculous happened. The entire audience rose to their feet, applauding thunderously without stopping. They were not only applauding his talent, but offering him compassion and understanding. It was the love of art and the kindness of people that saved a legend. Sometimes after the storm comes a warm embrace. And for another man, that peace would arrive through a simple confession. Part 8. Derek Jacobi. A confession in his student years and a peaceful harbor in later life. The story begins in a small room at the University of Cambridge. A young student, his face filled with anxiety, heart pounding, sits across from his mother. That was Derek Jacobi. After many days of inner turmoil, he finally decides to tell the truth. He loves men. His mother's reaction was not tears or fierce denial. She simply sighed and gently said, "It's just a phase, it will pass." A seemingly simple sentence, yet one that clearly reflected the mindset of the time when sexual orientation was seen as a temporary deviation. Derek did not argue, nor did he turn himself into a rebel. He kept that secret to himself, channeling all his passion into becoming one of Britain's greatest stage actors. Derek's life was not loud, but it was steadfast. He lived true to his heart without needing to display it. He found the love of his life in Richard Clifford. They did not need public vows, they simply lived quietly together, passing through youth and growing old side by side. 43 years together stands as the clearest proof that their love was never just a phase. In 2006, when the United Kingdom legalized civil partnerships, Derek Jacobi and Richard Clifford were among the first couples to register. In his later years, after 4 decades of quiet companionship, they were finally recognized. Derek's story is not dramatic, not sensational, but it is a testament to a love that is enduring, patient, and strong enough to outlast prejudice and arrive at peace. Part 9. Charles Lawton, a late confession and the burden of a monument. We had no children because Charles was homosexual. A short, calm sentence, yet carrying immense weight taken from Elsa Lanchester's autobiography, Herself. When actress Elsa Lanchester wrote those lines many years after her husband's death, all of Hollywood seemed to freeze in stunned silence. Charles Lawton was no ordinary name. During the golden age of classical cinema, he was a towering figure, a British actor who had won the prestigious Academy Award. Audiences remembered him through the haunting gaze of Quasimodo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, or the commanding complex presence of Captain Bligh. On screen, he was immense, overwhelming, larger than life. Yet behind the camera, his life was confined by endless torment over his true self. Charles carried within him desires for other men. In an era when even a rumor about one's sexuality could destroy a career, he built a fortress to hide within. In 1929, he married Elsa Lanchester. On the surface, it was an ideal marriage between two talented artists. But behind closed doors, it was an agreement built on understanding and concealment. Elsa fully understood who her husband truly was, and she accepted the quiet whispers circulating in elite circles about his secret relationships with other men. She chose to stay, becoming a safe refuge, a companion who stood beside him through his fears. Charles never stopped struggling. Raised under strict discipline and deeply influenced by societal prejudice, he came to loathe his own orientation. Ironically, his greatness on stage was fueled by that very pain and repression. He embodied tragic roles so powerfully because he himself was living a tragedy, never able to openly hold the hand of the person he truly longed for under the light. Elsa's revelation was not a betrayal, but a way to free the soul of her partner after years of carrying a burden too heavy to bear. Even with a partner who was understanding and compassionate, living behind a facade remained a lingering pain. But in another story, a marriage chose to face the truth through a far more daring and heartbreaking arrangement. Part 10. Denholm Elliot, An Open Marriage and the Tearful End of a Free Spirit. He was bisexual, and we chose an open marriage so he could live fully as himself. When Susan Robinson, the wife of actor Denholm Elliot, published the book, Denholm Elliot Quest for Love, fans finally saw the hidden corners behind his gentle smile. Mainstream audiences knew Denholm through his role as the clumsy, yet warm Marcus Brody in the Indiana Jones series, or through many other friendly British gentleman roles. He radiated reliability and propriety, but his real life was a canvas painted with bold, turbulent, and deeply tragic colors. Denholm was bisexual. Unlike many colleagues who chose to take their secret to the grave, he longed to live freely. When he married Susan, he did not hide it. Together they reached a daring agreement for their time in open marriage. Susan allowed her husband the space to explore same-sex love as long as he always returned to his family. They had 2 children and were still seen by friends as a close-knit family in their own way. But the price of that freedom was devastatingly high. The 1980s arrived with the nightmare called HIV/AIDS, a disease once considered a death sentence for the gay community. In 1987, Denholm tested positive for HIV. In the final years of his life, as his body gradually weakened, Susan remained by his side, holding his hand, caring for him devotedly until he passed away in 1992. A quiet, deeply sorrowful ending for a soul that longed for freedom. And on another stage, someone else would be stripped of the right to choose when to tell the truth, right at the most brilliant moment of his life. Part 11. Sir Nigel Hawthorne, Unmasked in the Spotlight and the Power of Composure. At the 1995 Academy Awards, amid the glittering hall and thunderous applause, Sir Nigel Hawthorne sat there at the radiant peak of his career, nominated for Best Actor for his role in The Madness of King George. In his 60s, the renowned British stage actor had finally reached global recognition. But at that very sacred moment, an unexpected blow struck. Sir Nigel was an intensely private man. He never denied being gay to friends, family, or colleagues, and had lived peacefully with his partner Trevor Bentham for many years. But he had never brought that part of his life into the public eye. To him, privacy was a quiet space, not meant for the spotlight. Yet the tabloids did not respect that. Right before the Oscars, when his name was at its peak, they chose to out him, digging into his personal life and splashing it across headlines. It was a blatant invasion. People waited to see how he would react. Would he collapse, lash out, or deny everything? But Sir Nigel did none of those things. Instead, he responded with remarkable calm. On Oscar night, he appeared on the red carpet with Trevor Bentham dignified and proud. The flashes went off relentlessly, but he did not waver. His quiet presence beside the man he loved was the most powerful response of all. He may have been stripped of the right to control his own narrative, but no one could take away his dignity. Sir Nigel proved that his love was not something to be hidden, but a natural part of his life, even at its most glorious moments. He faced scrutiny with composure and enduring love. But not everyone had a shoulder to lean on. Some were left with nothing but laughter to hide a profound loneliness. Part 12. Kenneth Williams, Roaring Laughter and Diary Pages Soaked in Pain. Today, I truly feel happy to be gay. But this loneliness, it cuts straight to the bone. When Kenneth Williams' personal diaries and letters were published after his death, the entire nation of Britain seemed to fall into a heavy silence. Audiences could not believe that the man writing those anguished, deeply wounded lines was the very same Kenneth, the comedic icon of the legendary Carry On film series. In the memories of millions, Kenneth Williams was the embodiment of joy. With his distinctive high-pitched voice, his wildly expressive face bordering on exaggeration, and his sharp, biting wit, he was always the center of laughter. The public believed he was someone born to bring joy, a true entertainer in every sense. His flamboyant camp persona on screen was assumed to be nothing more than a comedic style, not a reflection of the man within. But when the lights went out, when the curtain fell and the laughter faded, what remained was a small, trembling Kenneth Williams, facing a loneliness so profound it drained him completely. He was a gay man, yet he lived in a brutal internal conflict. He longed for love, for a connection, both physical and emotional, with another man. Yet he pushed himself away from it, held back by fear of judgment and a crushing sense of shame within himself. His diary pages were filled with painful contradictions. At times he felt pride in who he was, only to plunge moments later into self-loathing and an illusory desire for a normal life. Kenneth remained forever an isolated island. The laughter he gave the world turned out to be his most tragic mask, used to hide a soul slowly withering from the absence of love and connection. His life stands as a heartbreaking testament to one truth. Sometimes the person who makes you laugh the loudest is the one quietly crying in the dark. From the depths of that hidden pain, we step into an entirely different world, one where the rules are reversed and where coming out is no longer a confession. Part 13. Andrew Scott, Rejecting the Label and the Perspective of a New Generation. I don't want to be described as openly gay anymore. That was Andrew Scott's candid statement in a 2024 interview with Variety. At present, the Irish actor is at the radiant peak of his career. He brought to life a mesmerizingly unhinged Moriarty in Sherlock, moved audiences as the charming priest in Fleabag, and left a haunting impression with his complex portrayal of Tom Ripley. He has talent recognition and complete confidence in who he is. Yet he rejects a phrase that the media often uses to praise him. Why? Because Andrew's perspective reflects the spirit of a new generation. He believes the word openly carries an outdated implication, as if one had been hiding something shameful and must one day reveal it to the world. You never hear anyone described as openly straight, he pointed out. To Andrew, sexuality is simply a natural part of being human. Like being left-handed or right-handed. It is not an achievement to be displayed, nor a label that should define an actor's entire career. His journey in the British film industry has not been overshadowed by tragedy like those of previous generations. He did not have to live in secrecy or construct sham marriages. Andrew chose a calm path, dedicating himself fully to his craft and letting his talent speak for itself. In the way he talks about himself, one can clearly see how far society has progressed. He does not need to be a loud activist because his quiet presence and success are already the most powerful statement of all. And those are 13 stories, 13 pieces that together form a spectrum of the artistic sky of Britain and Hollywood. From tearful marriages of concealment, years lived in fear, to bold reversals filled with pride, and finally the fearless freedom of a new generation. Thank you for watching and accompanying this journey through moments that are both dazzling and deeply emotional. If any story resonated with you the most, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can meet again in the next videos.